All right, everyone. So we have another video here from Set the Programmer, and this one is the Akatsuki versus the Phantom Troupe. Who would win? Now, this one should be really interesting. In my opinion, I feel like the Akatsuki would obviously win. I just feel like when you consider some of the abilities that are available in the Akatsuki, obviously you've got Pain, who's got the Rinnegan and the six paths of Pain. You have Itachi with his Mangekyo and all the abilities given to him by his Mangekyo. You have Kisame. You have Hidan with his immortality, which I think is really useful. You have Kakuzu with his 5 hearts and all 5 changes in chakra nature, and just multiple members who have these really broken and overpowered abilities. You also have, if you include Obito, who would already be a problem with his Kamui. And I guess, I don't know if they would include Orochimaru in it, because that's another, like, he's already a problem on his own. But then you also have the Phantom Troupe, and the Phantom Troupe do have a lot of really interesting or really strong abilities. But for me personally, I feel like the only one who could really be a problem in the Phantom Troupe is what's his name, Crollo, because of his ability, Bandit Secret. I guess Bandit Secret can only really help him steal other, Nen, and the Akatsuki don't really use Nen, so I don't know. I don't even know if Bandit Secret would even work. So, let's just go ahead and watch the video, and we'll see what Seth thinks. But before we do, guys, as always, I do have to ask that if you want to support this channel, please consider leaving a like, share this video out there, hit the subscribe button if you haven't, make sure to ring the bell for notifications, comment down below with your thoughts, and check the description of this video for links. As always, let's go ahead and watch the video.
Hello everyone, it's your host, Seth the Programmer. With me today I have my good old pal, Swag Kage, and today we're going to be talking about the Akatsuki versus the Phantom Troupe, a truly legendary spectacle, one that you've all been asking for. Everyone in all the debate communities constantly argues about it. It's really, really close. I promise this will be a really long and detailed video. I absolutely promise.
Honestly, this is the Goku versus Superman of Shonen. Like, it's just nobody agrees. There's just whole communities centered around figuring it out. It's just a really titanic, close battle.
There is doxing, discourse, everything you can imagine from this. Like, it's just absolutely insanity. But when are y'all gonna get to the goddamn point? To just like sum up this topic really quick. I mean, this video can just be like 15 minutes or whatever. It doesn't really matter. But it's pretty blatantly in the
16 and a half minutes.
Like, spoilers, shocker. There is like very few things the Phantom Troupe have going for them. So when I talk to Swag's gonna kind of go over like maybe their hacks abilities and like maybe talk about maybe the redundancy of it, really. But let me just like kind of outline something very basic. All right, so you got Boma Lenov. He creates the Jupiter, the Jupiter ball. And it kills like this little ant with guns. He still uses guns, by the way. Kills an ant, and it creates a crater in the ground, like a decently small crater. It's implied that the ball hit the ground, and that's why there's a crater there, and it didn't like vaporize anything or explode or nothing, just crushed the ground right there. And it was like, oh, that's like 109 tons of TNT or something like that. It's pretty beefy. If a real person got hit by that, they'd probably get squished to dust.
Yeah, they die, obviously.
He's like, you can't even outrun sound. So he's shooting his sound beams. He's pretty quick compared to the average fella. Then you have Uvogin. He's like, that super bazooka can't do anything, and he catches it like Broly. He catches an explosion like Broly. He's able to chop off someone's head with his teeth. He's able to catch a bullet in his mouth point blank. It's like hypersonic speed. And the volumes, it's like he can punch with the force of a large explosion. He wants to one day punch with the force of a nuclear bomb. It's pretty tough. Strong guy. He's considered the physically strongest of the Phantom Troupe. And then you can have like weird stuff like Cortopi, the Obito of the Phantom Troupe, the true strongest member, can create 50 whole buildings in the blink of an eye. These are all really cool things.
Sorry, I probably should have said from the beginning that there's going to be possible spoilers, I guess, for the Hunter x Hunter manga if you're not all caught up. At least I'm guessing if they're going to talk about the Phantom Troupe, then they have to talk about everything in the manga. So if you don't want spoilers, I guess there you go.
But then, you have the Akatsuki, and, they're fighting these things called, Biju, tailed beast, that can vaporize entire mountains, in, one blast. And then the Akatsuki are, brawling them, and they're stated to be stronger than these tailed beast, plus amps from Super Ninja on top of that, while usually not even really trying for the most part. So you kind of have a difference of, maybe 100 or so tons to kind of a couple billion, And I outlined this in my Naruto and Sasuke versus Gon and Killua video. But, Swag, maybe you can go into detail, maybe the Phantom Troupe has hacks.
We reacted to both of those videos. You can go find them on the channel if you haven't seen them yet.
Or something. Why do people even think this is a thing? What do you think they're going for?
I guess so. There are a couple ways you could argue that the troupe could do something. Most of them rely on Crollo. Couple maybe take a look at Phaeton or Cortopi spawning 50 buildings.
The Obito, bro. I'm telling you.
What exactly? Yeah. So here's the thing they brought up. Why is this even a debate? This honestly shouldn't even be a thing. It's anyone who's seen both series would know the Akatsuki would stomp them. Again, the only people who could possibly do anything are Crollo, Uvogin, and Phaeton, maybe? I mean, I know he's depicted as being really fast, but guess what? So is everyone in the Akatsuki. So yeah, it's... No, I don't see the Phantom Troupe winning this. I'm sorry.
But there's just no way to argue that physically they stand a chance against the Akatsuki. Because Bull Nilnov is he's pretty hype about his sonic speed. His whole barely around 700 miles per hour speed. He's are you that fast? And
he's bragging about it, yeah.
Then you take a look all the way back in the second arc of Naruto, Chunin exams, and there's these guys that literally shoot sound that's been amped up to it's been weaponized. It can damage people.
What was it Zaku, the fodder ones? I shoot at a hypersonic blast.
No,
so
not
it's
even
even
that.
faster.
I'm pretty sure Bull Nilnov, it's stated to be the speed of sound. Dosu gets up to Lee, and he's oh, well, your kicks are fast, but are they faster than sound? And then he starts going all woogly because he's got caught in the genjutsu. And then Sasuke...
Well, it wasn't genjutsu. It was an ability where he releases vibrations through the air, and that screws up with your ear, because I forget what it's actually called, but it actually screws up with your mind's what was it called? But I'm sorry, I forget what it's called, but it basically throws off your balance. That's why Lee was having trouble, because he released vibrations into his ear, and it screwed his eardrum. That's why he was having trouble focusing and being able to maintain his balance.
As a kid, dodges these attacks no trouble.
It's nothing.
And unless you assume that that's Sasuke's speed peak for some reason, that he just doesn't get any faster ever again. I think it's safe to assume then that the Akatsuki are probably a bit faster than that. So, and again, this is a big deal to him, right?
It's his clan secret thing.
You could maybe argue that even if you argue somehow that he's dramatically the slowest member of the Phantom Troupe, which doesn't really make any sense. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know he's not the fastest, but for that to be a benchmark for them, it's kind of bad. He's definitely not their weakest guy. I'd say he's probably about somewhere in the middle, lower middle.
Yo, speaking of this, by the way, on Swag's channel, we're actually going to be ranking them, so maybe check that out after this or something like that. So, yeah.
Anyway,
I don't know if we watch that, but we could if you want to.
He's about probably lower middle, you'd say, right? And then you take a look at lower middle Akatsuki, and you get Datara.
Yeah, Datara or I don't know, Kakuzu or something. I don't know.
Well, Kakuzu's actually number one.
Oh,
yeah,
Jesus.
stronger than the leader. My bad. Unfortunately.
Don't start that,
Let me burn
please.
him. Basically,
Stop.
so Dosu, he slams his fist into Rock Lee's head, right? And he's like, I think you're faster than sound or whatever. Like, so even if Rock Lee dodges it or whatever, like he can't see the sound or really perceive it. And while weighted, maybe he's slower than sound or whatever. And then later, there's a guy named Zaku who has these like cannons in his hand that shoot pressurized like sound and air or whatever. And it's hypersonic, so it goes thousands of miles per hour to the point where it can crush rocks. That's how fast this thing is going. So the fact that Bono Lenov is more like tuning exams level, which by the way, there's actually a scene of like Tamari with her fan. She fights Tuyuya, and Kishimoto like goes out of his way to draw the sound waves like moving at Tamari, and she's able to swing her fan faster than the sound actually moves. And this is like baby era Naruto, like when they're not even like, you know, using really Chidori or anything, you know, it's just kind of like the lesser characters who kind of get bullied by, you know, Naruto or Sasuke. So it's kind of interesting that, you know, a Phantom Troupe member is like a huge deal in Hunter x Hunter is like this trash can in Naruto. What I wanted to talk about, though, is maybe you can give your opinion on this. I've given my opinion on this before, I think, in Naruto and Sasuke vs. Killua, but what is your thoughts on Phaeton, the Pain Packer, and, you know, some people are like, it's as hot as the sun, you know, and stuff like that.
The problem with the Pain Packer thing is, first of all, Phaeton summons a celestial body, or what he refers to as a celestial body, right? He calls the thing the sun. And this would be a lot more impressive. It would be a lot easier to say that it for sure is as hot as the sun if hold on a second.
Bonolenov.
Bonolenov, yeah.
Yeah,
I was getting my fucking consonants mixed up. This video is a fucking shit post, dude. Holy shit. No, okay, but Bonolenov.
Did he actually summon Jupiter, though, guys? I don't know.
Right.
You know?
He summons Jupiter.
I don't know what that said.
No.
In a bigger planet, and, like, everyone...
Otherwise, pretty sure... Unless you argue that, like, Hunter x Hunter actually takes place on...
And
like,
everyone is bigger than Earth.
Yeah, a humongous planet. And that was... He was just referencing our verse for some reason and summoned, like, our Jupiter.
I don't think that's what's happening.
Then, yeah,
No.
like, okay,
That's
sure,
not what's happening.
I guess, but, that's really the only argument, right? So that in mind, he didn't actually summon Jupiter, which means it then follows that Phaeton's probably not actually summoning the sun.
No, he's
not. And then
not.
also follows that there's a fair chance that the thing isn't actually as hot as the sun. But even if it is, even if we fucking jerk him off and say it's totally 100% solar heat level, Amaterasu is too. Like, it's not really...
This is like really nerdy, you know, actually, you know, like mathy stuff, but like the heat of the sun doesn't like, even, you know, generating the heat of the sun doesn't make you star level.
No.
Like, at all. Like, when you think about how much damage the heat of the sun would do in a certain surface area, it's really like building levels per second, you know, like just because you can, it's not like you're generating as much heat as the sun, you know, on a, you know, an actual star-sized level, you know, you're generating the heat of the sun in like a really condensed small area. It's not like they're saying, I'm taking all of the heat and energy inside of a star and I'm condensing it in this small grain of sand-sized area and putting it onto your body. Like, it's really not that deep. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
No.
He's just like, yeah, this is the same temperature as in like a non-defined area of the sun. Which, there's a pretty big range there, too, by the way. You know, the surface isn't actually that hot compared to the core. So if it's like the surface of the sun, that's not... I mean, that's whatever, right? Who cares?
the other thing about Pain Packer is, I'm pretty sure Phaeton said it could be hotter, like the one that was made was weaker. So does the heat range depending? Like, does he actually make a giant blue star when he gets the absolute piss beaten out of him, or like what happens there, or does it eventually?
Also, like, that would depend on just how much damage can he take before it eventually kills him. You know what I mean? Like, let's say if he were to go up against, I don't know, like, let's say he were to go up against Kurama, for example. If Kurama were just to continuously, like, smack him around, maybe pick him up and throw him into the side of a mountain, like, would his Pain Packer just absorb all of that, or would it be too much and just kill him? And what would happen if he picked him up and then Kurama just like twisted his head off? What happens then? So yeah, I think it depends. It's like you got to ask yourself, like, how much damage can he take, and what if the kind of damage that he took would normally kill a human being? Would that mean that he could summon like the power of like 10 different stars? If that's the case, then that would completely eradicate the planet. So yeah, it's just like some things I feel like you do kind of need to take into consideration when you think about these abilities.
Reach the heat of the sun. There's a lot of things, because there's actually nothing that says it's actually as hot as the sun. Nowhere. There's actually nothing. So you have to make like a really vague implication, which isn't necessarily 100% supported. And even then, it's like, it doesn't really, it's not like a one-hit KO even then. The other problem, which I'm going to point out, is the Akatsuki kind of just one-shot kill everyone to begin with. There is no like bruising or beating up happening to really make pain packer. So unless like Phaeton has like this post-mortem Nen pain packer that happens after he gets like decapitated or something, there's not really a lot going on. But I guess the other thing you can get into is maybe the speed side of things, because the speed of the top tiers might be a little bit different, because like maybe you could say, oh, Chrollo and Hisoka and all that, maybe they scale to Chituk and like faster than a bullet, can rip someone's head out from behind their head before they can see, or maybe they somehow scale to Godspeed Killua, who's lightning speed, and it's like, well, you have baby Kakashi is also the speed of lightning. Chop a lightning bolt in half. So like, yeah, so
yeah, that's the thing. And I mean, like, Naruto has like a lot of crazy speed feats. Sick, poopy, like not at nearly close to his strongest Itachi is, able to pretty easily react to lightning. And
he's pretty much blind and like dying when he does it as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't see why a bunch of other members of the Akatsuki, who are definitely like stronger than that sick dying version of Itachi, because like another thing we should stress is like I think a big reason that Itachi was so deadly and threatening at that point when his like body was failing him was because of his crazy hacks like Totsuka blades, Yomi. He physically he wasn't really a threat at all. Like this changes when he gets reanimated and he's able to keep up with people like KCM Naruto,
because he's not sick and he's not blind and he can operate at he can operate at 100%. So this is if I'm being honest, like this is one thing that I did like about the war arc, is we got to see just how strong Itachi actually was, and it's actually kind of crazy when you think about the fact that he was this strong all this time
or whatever. But the fact that he, when he was like pretty much crippled, was able to react to a lightning speed attack from Sasuke, like
yeah, it's pretty telling. I mean, I don't want to get into like whole light speed stuff. Maybe you could say Darui shoots laser particles, reflecting off of water, or Haku moves light speed, or the Red Kage moves light speed, in the data books or whatever.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like we're being nice to the troop. If we want to get into the really really unfair shit, yeah, you can go look in the data books where it claims Haku is the speed of light, and
yeah, there's like so much weird stuff. And on top of this, it's just way more blatant than Hunter x Hunter as well. So it's like, at the end of the day, a real debate to be had, and we can wrap this video up soon. More so a real debate to be had would be Meruem versus Hidan. But in my Meruem video that I've made, I've talked about it a few times, he like obliterates a plateau in the distance, and it's like calced at like 450,000 tons of TNT or something. The Bijou are still in the billions range, so like it's even Meruem is more like a random bug. Like Hidan, like, what is this bug? And like chop him, or like stab himself and like have like an orgasm over it or something. Like it's not really a big deal. Like he would be kind of like a fodder enemy. In all actuality, he might, I dare say, like there might be random Jonin who might, you remember that random Jonin who like fought Madara for like 2 seconds with a sword?
Yeah.
Like that random Jonin with a sword that fought Madara for 2 seconds would probably like beat up like Meruem, like unironically.
I mean, that wind blast that knocked Madara over from Tamari might like wipe out the whole troop,
You remember that like when Gaara like took Madara by the foot and like threw him? Like that would probably like splat Meruem against a wall or something. Anyway, I don't want to make the Hunter x Hunter fans mad. Like I do think, you know, Hunter x Hunter has some feats going on, but the thing about it, and Swag will agree, Hunter x Hunter is not about, you know, heavy power cliffing.
No,
happening
was
over
it?
and over and over again. You know, they're not trying to, you know, constantly. It's not like, you know, the Pokemon card game where they're trying to constantly, you know, like amp the series over and over and over again. They kind of want to keep, you know, certain concepts relevant more. Whereas, you know, Naruto kind of turned into like this Dragon Ball thing where all the characters started like kept escalating to the point of, you know, Otsutsuki alien, you know, planet parasites and, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which, you know, Hunter x Hunter might reach, you know, in 100 years when Togashi gets there, but at the moment we're just not.
Well, good news is he's been giving us a lot of updates recently, and it seems like we are going to get some new chapters hopefully soon. And according to one update is that it seems like we might not have to wait a long time when those chapters eventually get released, because normally, if you remember, or if you don't know, he would release like 10 chapters and then go on a long hiatus and then release 10 chapters and then go on another long hiatus. But recently, according to a recent post, it seems like he's finished the storyboards for 10 chapters and then he immediately started working on the next 10 chapters. So it seems like we might not have to wait that long. It seems like he's actually trying to go back to like releasing chapters more consistently, and we won't have to go back to waiting a long time. Which, if that, I mean, that alone should tell you that Togashi does take this seriously and he's not being lazy like what a lot of people kind of accuse him of. And it shows you that he really does care about this story. He does want to finish it. So there a little bit of information just in case you're one of the few people who didn't know.
Out there, and unfortunately, Hunter x Hunter just isn't at that point. Even with Mana, the Akatsuki would just absolutely throttle him. And we don't even really.
Which, for me personally, is honestly on the point that they made that, you know, Hunter x Hunter isn't about this, you know, building, destroying, mountain leveling, planet busting thing shonen, where it's actually one of the things that I think I and a lot of people really like about it, where it's not. I mean, there is a little bit, I guess you could say, but it's not the type of shonen where every time a new arc starts, there is a new villain who just, you know, power cliffs the entire series. You know what I mean? And then characters have to train to get to that level, and then before we know it, the next arc starts, and then there's another character or another antagonist who power cliffs the previous antagonist. And there's just a continuous case of power cliffing every time a new arc starts. For me, I think that that's one of the things that a lot of people really like about Hunter x Hunter, is that it doesn't go the Dragon Ball route, or it doesn't go the, even in Naruto or in Bleach, where every time there's a new arc, there's a new antagonist, and this new antagonist far surpasses the previous one when it comes to strength, and the main characters have to get stronger to be able to get to that point, or to get to a point where they can, you know, compete against the antagonist. Hunter x Hunter is different, where, yeah, the antagonists are a threat, but in a different way than just being stronger. I mean, Meruem, yes, obviously much stronger than the Phantom Troupe, who were the antagonists of the York New City arc. But you also had Greed Island, where the bomber Genthru, who was the main antagonist, but you could say that he was nowhere near as strong as the Phantom Troupe, or even anywhere as strong as the Zoldyck family. But again, we are getting into the Dark Continent, and it is stated as being a place that is completely dangerous. So maybe we will see like enemies there that, or maybe that's not even the whole point of the Dark Continent. I mean, again, we'll have to wait and see, but that's one thing that I think a lot of people, again, really do like about Hunter x Hunter, is that it's different from the typical shonen that we're so used to for a long time.
You need to get into too much detail. I think that's really all that needs to be said. But
yeah, like it's just, you know, any one jutsu from the Akatsuki and boom, Phantom Troupe dies.
Like, I know this video seems kind of redundant. That's why we're kind of doing it like in a collab. We're just kind of like having fun with it. But everyone was asking for it. So this is that video on the internet. If you really want to know, there you go. So anyways, guys, that will be all for me. We're going to have more videos on Swag's channel coming out. I think we have 2 collabs coming out now. So yeah, if you haven't, check out Swag Kage. Be sure to subscribe to him. Be sure to subscribe to me, please. Get me to 1 million. Like,
yeah, do that.
Swag's already got his gold play button. button. I'm out here starving.
Yeah, what you about to go over to my channel and not click the subscribe button right here?
What's going on, man? I'm starving. Anyways, guys.
You good?
Thank you guys very much for watching.
Go subscribe to their channel, and while you're here, consider subscribing to my channel and, you know, commenting, liking, doing all that stuff that YouTube absolutely loves.
And I'll see you next time.
Bye.
Okay, so I think that's over. Yeah, okay, so there it is. That's the video, guys. So yeah, again, I mean, look, I love the Phantom Troupe as much as the next person, but if we're being honest, there's nothing any of them can do against the Akatsuki. Naruto is just one of those series where, you know, it's a lot like Dragon Ball, where sometimes it's just not fair to try to take antagonists from other shonen and try to pit them up against, you know, members like the Akatsuki, or I guess you could say the Saiyans from Dragon Ball, or Frieza and, you know, the Ginyu Force and all that stuff or whatever. It's just not really fair because those series have characters that are, you know, like they're traveling between planets. There's interstellar travel. There's like there's planetary level threats, and series like Hunter x Hunter are not the kind of series where they, you know, where they have, you know, characters destroying planets or galaxies or whatever. It's just not that kind of series, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, it's one of the reasons why I think a lot of people love Hunter x Hunter, is because it's a break from that. You know, even though it does have, you know, some shonen tropes you could point to, like the optimistic protagonist, and then you have the rival character in Killua. You know, Togashi does play into some tropes, but overall, Hunter x Hunter just feels like it's its own thing. And honestly, I would not want that to change. Now, does that mean it's not going to happen in the future? Maybe. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But like I said, Togashi is giving us more updates, showing us that he is indeed working on the manga as we speak. And he did, like I said, he made a post on his Twitter account about how he had already finished the storyboards for like 10 chapters. And I think he said that he's waiting for them to come back from the editor so that he can, you know, actually finish inking them. But while he's waiting, he is working on the next 10 chapters. So that means that we are going to, you know, get more consistent updates for the Hunter x Hunter manga. And I think that this is a good thing, because a lot of fans, including myself, have been waiting a long time to finally you know, get some kind of an update for Hunter x Hunter, and it seems like our patience has finally paid off. We are going to be getting more Hunter x Hunter content, and just so you know, I will be covering them on this channel right here. Okay, so make sure you're subscribed if you want to see me cover Hunter x Hunter once the new chapters come out. Hit the subscribe button, guys. Make sure to click on the bell icon also to be notified whenever I post a new video or anything else. Comment down below with your thoughts, and if you have any video out there you want me to watch and react to, give my thoughts on, just let me know about them in the comment section down below. And I hope I'll see you guys for my next video. Bye for now.